Do you suffer from anxiety? Or maybe you don't even realize you're suffering, but you know that you're stressed to the gills, you're having trouble sleeping, and you always feel like you're just running from one fire to the next. Well, you're not alone, because something like 1 in 5 Americans are taking anti-anxiety drugs, care of Big Pharma. But today we're going to show you how to stop anxiety in its tracks naturally. I'm Michelle Pfennighaus, and I'm here with Andrea Beeman and Lisa Lutan. We are expert health coaches who've helped thousands of people around the world get happier and healthier while staying sane and having some fun. Now, anxiety is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because it was the reason I started having so many health issues years ago, from dizzy spells to passing out in the subway. And did you know that anxiety is linked very closely with IBS? I had that too. What do you know? And now I work with clients who are almost invariably struggling with some level of anxiety. It's just a beautiful thing to watch it melt away. Andrea, what do you recommend to people who are struggling with anxiety?
Well, it's an interesting thought, right? Because here they are all the way up here. There are many things that I would recommend to help reduce or stop someone's anxiety. But first, we got to get to the root cause of it. So let's take this in just a couple of little parts. So the first is physical. If the physical body is in a state of deficiency, anxiety will pop up because there's a lack of grounding. You know, like you're not feeling physically stable. So if the body doesn't feel stable and secure, then there'll be a fear of death, a fear of falling, a fear of everything because of the instability. So getting the person grounded is one of the first steps. So I like to recommend on the food side, root vegetables, meats, heavier, more dense foods to bring the person literally back into their body in a stronger and a more grounded way. So now, and I'm curious, Michelle, when you were struggling with your IBS and your anxiety, were you vegan or vegetarian?
I wasn't, but I was eating a diet. I was just, I was eating lean cuisine, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was those days.
Anxiety. So when I'm talking about bringing people back into the body using stronger, more dense foods and animal proteins, I'm not including animals that are factory farmed, because those animals are living a highly stressed out life. And when we eat those animals, we're absorbing their energy and we'll pick up on that stress, and it can exacerbate an anxious condition. Another thing to consider is meditation. So when we're suffering with anxiety and panic, it's because we're running ahead of ourselves. We're not present. We're in the future. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I die? What if something happens to my kids? Right? It's a state of being in the future that hasn't actually happened yet. So I recommend meditation to get someone back to the present moment. But when someone's in an anxious state, they're not about to sit and meditate. Right? That's not going to happen.
That's the truth.
They're totally freaking out. They're going to die. Something's going to happen, right? Some horrible thing is about to happen. So that's when I recommend, like, people that are anxious to actually carry around a little kava with them. And it's an herb, and it can immediately calm someone down, right? Immediately bring them back to, okay, a relaxed state. And then, they could drink lemon balm all day, something to help them just, come on down. And then if the anxiety is coming from excess heart heat, which can be the case as well, right? The heart is overheated, then you'll get an anxious state. Then I would suggest something like motherwort. And it's called Leonaris. Its Latin name is Leonaris cardiaca, right? Lion heart. So that's what I got for anxiety, right? Get them back, calm the heart, get them grounded. And meditation, I hope that
it's really near and dear to my heart, because even though I didn't know it at the time, I was really suffering from anxiety in my teens and my 20s and my early 30s. And because I was a person that always was very calm and cool on the outside, nobody knew it either. I tended to kind of stuff it down, and it would go inside and like eat me apart inside. I know a lot of you are out there like that too. You don't let anybody see what's really going on, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. So after I collapsed, that was my big aha, and I had to start realizing what went wrong, and anxiety was a big piece of that. And truth be told, back then I didn't even know what the word really meant. Like people said, oh, are you a worrier or this or that? It wasn't a term that they're throwing around like they are today. So that was like, what do you mean I'm anxious? Me? And it was kind of a weird kind of coming to terms with a part of myself that I really didn't like so much. And so I started studying it and I started paying attention to it. And the thing that I found for me personally that impact player removed and weight very commonly a lot of sugar. Not only was I worrying more, but what I worried about changed. I was worried more catastrophically. I was really worried about everything. And it was so night and day that I just couldn't ignore that was a huge thing for me. So I see anxiety quite a bit with the clients that I deal with. Oftentimes they come to me and think they have a food issue, and it quickly looks like it's actually an anxiety issue. And so I like kind of figuring this out. And some of the tools and tips that I offer, number one, take a look at your diet. I love what, Michelle and Andrea are saying about your diet. And I also love looking at the sugar piece and seeing if that does impact you as well, because it is a biggie. Some of the other tools that I'm a huge believer in, yes, meditation. We don't want to be living in the future. As Andrea said, we want to be coming back to now. Tapping, my favorite hands down tool of the moment. Like when you're in an anxious state, you can literally tap it out in like minutes. It's such a fabulous tool for that. And then there are, change your scenery, go play with a puppy, get fresh air, and reframe, get through it, do some yoga poses, whatever it is. Figure out what's in your toolkit so that in the moment, I think taking a shower is a huge thing when you're in a highly anxious state, just to kind of break it right where it's coming. So put together your toolkit, add all these great tools, and then when it hits, you know what to do.
All good ideas. I had some great body work done when I was in Thailand, and the guy was actually an American. And he said, you know what? Being in this climate, everything's just a little more relaxed and slower because it's warm. He's like, in all cultures, in Finland, is that where they do the saunas? The northern cultures. Sweden, whatever, up there. They need that. So when you go home, he goes, find somewhere that you can go and sweat at least once a week. And just like bring that heat into your body you can't be like super uptight like this when it's 100 degrees. So I thought that was a really interesting idea. But what I was thinking about when I was thinking about anxiety for this episode, and this may be a generational thing, so you guys just tell me, but do you remember Super Mario Brothers?
Yes!
Okay. Like the first one, like
oh yeah,
Mario Brothers 1. Yeah. do, 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 So you're kind of, you're Mario, you're Luigi, and you're running around. There's that nice blue sky with the clouds, and you're jumping over all the little things and picking them up and throwing them. That was like such a fun game. I used to play it for hours and hours when I was a kid. At my
was that the one? Did you know the secret when you kick the turtle on the stair and you got 1,000,000 guys?
No.
You flip a turtle over and you kick it onto the stairs and you get like 1,000,000 guys.
I've totally missed out on this game.
Well, you can still play. You can come over. We have it.
Okay.
Whatever we got upstairs. My kids play it now. So every now and then, if you ever played Super Mario Brothers, you'll know that you'd crouch and go down a pipe, or sometimes you'd go in a door and you would emerge into the underground world where everything was dark and the music got a little more ominous. It was like do 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 do. Do 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 do. So like to me, this is anxiety. Anxiety rarely happens in one isolated incident. It's more like we get stuck underground and it's all do 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 do. We're kind of in this anxiety land, and once we're there, it's a little bit hard to get out because, again, back to the game, there's not that many doorways leading out. You need to know where to go. So as Lisa mentioned, there are lots of ways to minimize anxiety so you don't end up underground. And if you do, you have a better chance of coming out. And some of those are more of a long-term game, like changing the food that you eat, getting the sugar out of your diet. I would add getting off coffee. But when you are underground in anxiety land, the single most important doorway that you can look for, in my opinion, is this. It is your diaphragm muscle. I don't know if you can see me. It's right down here. It's basically underneath your ribs, and it separates your thoracic cavity from your abdominal cavity. Here's why this muscle is so important. You move this muscle when you take deep belly breaths. When you inhale really deeply, go ahead, try it. You feel like you're breathing up, but actually your diaphragm moves down to make more space for your lungs. And then when you exhale, the diaphragm moves up. So it's going up and down with your belly breaths. And here's the thing. When you move your diaphragm, you move the vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve runs from your brain, it's cranial nerve, and it innervates the diaphragm. The vagus nerve activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of anxiety. Anxiety is your sympathetic nervous system. It's fight, flight, or freeze. You know the feeling. Your parasympathetic nervous system helps you rest, digest, and calm down. So this moving of the diaphragm, it's sort of like you're not yanking, but imagine it like the chain on the ceiling fan. It's almost like you're yanking on that chain and you're turning on your parasympathetic nervous system. It's like the on button, and it works really, really well. I've used like slow counted breathing techniques to stop panic and anxiety many, many times, often in that acute situation where you need it. I remember walking home one time in the snow and the ice, feeling dizzy, feeling like I was gonna eat it on the ice and just pass out cold, and just started counting my breathing, slowing it down, and made it all the way home without having one of those attacks. But I just learned something really interesting about all this. As if that wasn't interesting enough, I know. When I was on this yoga retreat recently, my teacher, his name's David Vendetti, by the way, he's in Boston. When he's not in South Boston Yoga, check him out. He is amazing. And he led us through this sequence where we folded our bodies forward, we folded, we went backwards, we did sideways stuff, we did twists, we released the hips big time. And after a good stretchy yoga class, don't you always feel a little bit more calm? I mean, we love yoga, but he described it this way. He said, all your muscles are basically connected, right? So he said, your muscles attached to your diaphragm, which would be like your hip muscles and your leg muscles and your back muscles, like everything kind of connects in there. When they are super tight, your diaphragm can't move as freely. It's kind of stuck. It's just physically stuck because the rest of you is stuck. But when we're able to release those muscles, what a difference. And the diaphragm can move, you can breathe more freely, and there goes that ceiling fan chain, turning on your parasympathetic nervous system. So more than anything, I recommend movement, stretching in all the directions, and deep, slow belly breathing to stop anxiety in its tracks. Feels good, right?
Yeah, it does feel good. And I just had a little anxiety. My dog walker just came back with my dog.
Oh no.
She'll be coming in at any moment. Hopefully she won't bark because we got to close out the show. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We want to make sure that you don't miss any of these fun, awesome episodes of The Healthy View. So we've made it easy for you to get updates from us. Just go to healthyviewshow.com and we will keep you posted. Also, we love seeing your reviews on iTunes like this one. And it's from Jules Rules 12. She says, I enjoy the Healthy View topics and the commitment these three bright ladies have to good health. I took a cooking class in Andrea's apartment 10 years ago when I was an IIN student. She's like the Pied Piper for those of us on the path to wellness. So Jules Rules 12, thank you for that. Send us an email to info@healthyviewshow.com and we'll send you a fun little gift, especially because you walked up 6 flights of stairs to take a cooking class. You're a good egg. And for those of you that want to leave us a little like or a thumbs up, just scroll down and give us a thumbs up and leave a comment because we love hearing from you. So have a great day and stretch, breathe, relax. Try not to be anxious. Bye, everybody.
Bye.